Because it is not currently released, I'm not going to be commenting.
But was it determined, not that, if you won't say what it was, but has it been determined how she was killed beyond it being homicide?
The coroner has made a determination on how Celeste died, and at the point that the coroner's report becomes public, we'll be able to comment on it.
Was there a specific breakthrough last week? Is there physical evidence that ties David to this murder?
There is physical evidence and there is forensic and digital evidence that we intend to present in court to prove these charges beyond a reasonable doubt.
Only a couple more questions.
Yes.
Your investigation, and just to his question, are you able to tell us exactly what the smoking gun is? And also, if you can address the issue of his visit to Santa Barbara, and that, how does it connect with the murder?
So with respect to the actual details of the evidence we're going to be presenting in court, I'm not going to do that today. As far as the concept of a smoking gun, the smoking gun is the totality of the evidence that we're going to bring to prove any case, whether it's this case or any case, beyond a reasonable douut.
Is there any evidence that you've used other underage girls that being investigated?
An investigation is ongoing. If information comes forward on with respect to any additional crimes, we will certainly investigate it.
One more question. One more.
There's been so much discussion about the difficulties in this case, and Chief talked about it as well. What makes you confident you can prove these allegations?
What makes us confident is the totality of the evidence that has been obtained by the LAPD robbery homicide, by the work that the District Attorney's Office has done, that has led us to the point where we believe we can prove each and every one of these three charges and the special circumstances and the special allegation beyond a reasonable doubt.
Thank you, everybody. If you raise your hand if you have Spanish language and you need a Spanish language translation. Okay. Keep your hands up. My team will come around to you and we will have someone to have you.
Thank you very, very much.
Just the timeline.
Sorry, everybody. Thank you.
You said has she been missing 2024 or 2025?
The coroner's report will be released shortly. Because it is not currently released, I'm not going to be commenting.
But was it determined, not that, if you won't say what it was, but has it been determined how she was killed beyond it being homicide?
The coroner has made a determination on how Celeste died, and at the point that the coroner's report becomes public, we'll be able to comment on it.
Was there a specific breakthrough last week? Is there physical evidence that ties David to this murder?
There is physical evidence and there is forensic and digital evidence that we intend to present in court to prove these charges beyond a reasonable doubt.
Only a couple more questions.
Yes.
Your investigation, and just to his question, are you able to tell us exactly what the smoking gun is? And also, if you can address the issue of his visit to Santa Barbara, and that, how does it connect with the murder?
So with respect to the actual details of the evidence we're going to be presenting in court, I'm not going to do that today. As far as the concept of a smoking gun, the smoking gun is the totality of the evidence that we're going to bring to prove any case, whether it's this case or any case, beyond a reasonable doubt.
Is there any evidence that you've used other underage girls that being investigated?
An investigation is ongoing. If information comes forward on with respect to any additional crimes, we will certainly investigate it.
One more question. One more.
There's been so much discussion about the difficulties in this case, and Chief talked about it as well. What makes you confident you can prove these allegations?
What makes us confident is the totality of the evidence that has been obtained by the LAPD robbery homicide, by the work that the District Attorney's Office has done, that has led us to the point where we believe we can prove each and every one of these three charges and the special circumstances and the special allegation beyond a reasonable doubt.
Thank you.
And special circumstances, that's a death penalty.
Everybody, if you raise your hand if you have Spanish language and you need a Spanish language translation. Okay. Keep your hands up. My team will come around to you and we will have someone to have you.
Thank you very, very much.
Just the timeline.
Sorry, everybody. Thank you.
You said has she been missing 2024 or 2025?
we have here, well, they're going after the death penalty, so that means, I guess they have concluded through all their little things they got. But what's trippy about it is, so for 5 months they've been building their case. So they were just waiting for the medical examiner to come with their conclusion. So the medical examiner made a determination, boom, they was already ready to go, right? Now, death penalty is heavy case. Do I think this is one work of one person? I don't know. I think it's multiple people. But I think David is their sole target. I think they're happy. I think, and this is a mistake, once again, OJ 101, that the prosecution always make, right? Or law enforcement. This case can be involved with multiple people. This could be a conspiracy, right? But because they're so gun-ho, and they just think because the car's in his name, he had a relationship with the girl, he had access to the girl, he's the only one that could have did it, their judgment is clouded. They're not looking at things from, okay, let's look at it in totality. Now, I'm not saying David didn't have knowledge of this. I'm not saying he didn't participate in this. I'm not saying that. But I am saying this could be more. I think this is multiple people involved in this. I mean, man, to saw off somebody's body like that and do all that things, this is multiple. I think this is people conspired and executed, whatever it is they want to do. So should they look further into making sure that, okay, could this be more than one person? Is this a multiple party crime, right? And I just think they're jumping the gun again, like they always do, because, people cry, what's up, college football? Yeah, they're trying to take David down. They talking about the death penalty. So, man, he's finna fight for his life. Literally. He's fighting for his life. I'm not a big. I think he's gonna get off. Not enough evidence. College football. I'm gonna go with you because I don't trust the court system, nor do I trust law enforcement, because they're so corrupted. You just never know what. They're making stuff up to do things to try to railroad somebody. But let's just say he does beat this. His life is ruined no matter what. Just being charged with murder alone, whether you're guilty or not guilty, ruins you. It ruins you forever. Like, you'll never be able to make another song. None of that, right? And, this is why I'm not a big fan of the justice system. I think they are gun-ho, corrupted, and, especially the LAPD, all of them are crooks and murderers. So, I don't trust them, but I will say this, we got to wait to see the whole case. We want to wait to see all the evidence. We want to see everything before we reserve to make our judgment. Let's hear everything that comes out. I know a lot of black people, especially my people, we come out, we make judgments, we convict people before we hear the case, right? And don't know shit. Just going on, oh, well, the police said. And then, once again, I don't typically trust, the law enforcement. I just don't trust them. Especially after the OJ case, the OJ 101, plant evidence, making things appear as though they were, but they're not, and OJ had the money to pick the legal team together to, fight these people, and they lost because it proved that they were crooks, racist, Now, I'm not saying David's innocent. I don't know if he's innocent. I don't know if he's guilty. Right? Do I think they're jumping the gun on college football? Point, yes. Because I think there's more than one person involved here. Do I believe David had knowledge? Yes. Of who was involved? Yes. Whether he executed it, I don't know. I want to wait to hear all the facts. All the facts. Let's go. I got some more videos. But yeah, this is the thing, right? These cases are, in my opinion, these cases are very, very complicated and complex. So they got to go through all and hear all the evidence. You know, you got to hear everything. You got to hear everything before you make your final decision. You just can't. And, you know, I just hate it when the district attorney, you know, falls for it every time. Oh, well, yeah, we're going to charge him because, you know, we got to charge him. And like you said, college football said, they don't even know they don't even have all the evidence. They don't have everything. They're still, the coroner just made his announcement that it's a homicide. And now you're just going to charge people. So, you know, it is, you know, if he's guilty, if he did it, you know, he's going to pay his dues. But what happens if he's innocent? This will be really bad luck again for law enforcement.
They've now released images and messages of singer David and the girl who was found in his Tesla. This is a picture of David and Celeste Rivas Hernandez, who was believed to be around 13 at the time, with the caption, "Celeste and David, don't let me sleep." These are messages between Celeste and her friend at the time she was missing, where her friend says, "I'm just gonna check up on you," and she responds, "I don't want to talk to anyone. That's it. Okay, yes, of course. But you have to swear you're gonna stay safe. Are you gonna talk to David or go back with him, because I don't want you to get into any more trouble with him. I'm safe. No, I'm not. Okay, I love you. I'll text you in about a week. Don't delete Insta. Love you too." Here's where things get weird. Celeste says it can bleed and not bleed during, because you probably did it when you were younger. I didn't because I wasn't. You said you bled. What? I thought I did. I only bled with David. With Gus, I was just, and did it because he got mad at me the first time for not having with him. And this is apparently a picture of David paying off Celeste's friends not to expose.
So I guess that's also part of the charges. They're going to charge him with having sex with a minor. That's part of their charges. First degree murder. So the charges are first degree murder, having sex with a minor, and then there's a special circumstance, meaning they're going after the death penalty. So the reason, and when they put these counts, I think the third count, let me see, let me go back to let's go back to the video. We got to see what counts. There we go. Let's go for I know the first count was first degree. Second count is, let me see, let me go back. Get all the counts right so we can know what exactly are they charging him with. Let's go back.
Not currently released. I'm not going to be commenting.
But was it determined, not that, if you won't say what that?
The coroner's report will be released shortly. Because it is not currently released, I'm not going to be commenting.
But was it determined, not that, if you won't say what it was, but has it been determined how she was killed beyond it being homicide?
The coroner has made a determination on how Celeste died, and at the point that the coroner's report becomes public, we'll be able to comment on it.
Was there a specific breakthrough last week? Is there physical evidence that ties David to this murder?
There is physical evidence and there is forensic and digital evidence that we intend to present in court to prove these charges beyond a reasonable doubt.
Only a couple more questions.
Yes.
Your investigation, and just to his question, are you?
So the physical evidence, I would guess, would be they found the body in his car, right? because they don't have. I know they don't have no DNA or no finger because the body was decomposing, so or decomposed, and it was very difficult to really find the cause of death. And I believe they still haven't found the cause of death. The cause of death. I truly believe the pressure. They put the pressure on the medical examiner and made him say, "Look, just say fucking take a guess. Who fucking cares? Let us do the work." I believe LAPD went down there with the guerrilla tactics and told the medical examiner, "Look, make the fucking call, or we'll have your job." You know, and he just went with it. He went with it. 5 months it took him to try to, and they were saying they couldn't get to come to a conclusion. And I'm sure it's been more examiner coming. They have few people come in, but the pressures are mounting, right? The families call in, "Oh, my baby, why has it been arrested? Why?" And then a lot of these cases, right? It's particularly high profile cases. A lot of these cases are tried in public opinion before they even hit a jury. So, it's a lot of, and the local police are under the pressure of, getting voted in, sheriff term coming up, judges, they get elected in. So, they don't want to lose their office, that's elected office, by underperforming. So, this is why these cases always are unwhelmingly very lackluster type cases, like a Young Thug case, the Rico, that was just lackluster, right? You could tell they just threw shit together and was relying on one person to make all this come together. And I believe also in this case, I believe there's maybe they have a witness that they're going to bank most of the case on, right? Maybe somebody who says, "Hey, I think this and I think that." So forensic evidence and physical evidence and all that, and it's a forensic, physical, and what's the other one? Let's go back in. Let's see it. I forgot the third. Sorry about that, y'all. Work with me. These words are so big for me.
Yes.
Your investigation, and just to his question, are you able to tell us exactly what the smoking gun is? And also, if you can address the issue of his visit to Santa Barbara, and that, how does it connect with the murder?
So with respect to the actual details of the evidence we're going to be presenting in court, I'm not going to do that today. As far as the concept of a smoking gun, the smoking gun is the totality of the evidence that we're going to bring to prove any case, whether it's this case or any case, beyond a reasonable doubt.
Is there any evidence that he abused other underage girls that being investigated?
An investigation is ongoing. If information comes forward on with respect to any additional crimes, we will certainly investigate it.
One more question. One more.
There's been so much discussion about the difficulties in this case. The chief talked about it as well. What makes that?
The coroner's report will be released shortly. Because it is not currently released, I'm not going to be commenting on it.
But was it determined, not that, if you won't say what it was, but has it been determined how she was killed beyond it being homicide?
The coroner has made a determination on how Celeste died, and at the point that the coroner's report becomes public, we'll be able to comment on it.
Was there a specific breakthrough last week? Is there physical evidence that ties David to this murder?
There is physical evidence and there is forensic and digital evidence.
There it is, digital. So they got forensics, physical, and digital. How the fuck do you get digital? So that means I guess that's camera. Are they saying they got him on camera? If they had him on camera, they'd have charged him 5 months ago. If they had him even on forensics, they'd have charged him 5 months ago. They're lying, right? Right? Well, if they had all this evidence, forensics, digital, and physical, right? So so let's break it down. I guess the physical is the body bag found in a car in a Tesla, which was in his name. Okay, that's physical evidence. Forensics, that she died of a homicide. But okay, but are you saying you got his DNA on the body? Are you saying, right, he got a hair follicle? Well, that's not true because then they would have had that long time ago. They'd arrested him in the month. And digital, what digital? Cameras? They got him carrying body trash bags to the car? Don't think so. Once again, they would have arrested him 4 months ago. 5 months tells me they didn't have any of this evidence. All they had was a bunch of people saying things and the body out the trunk. So I believe they're not really, they're being very vague. They're being very vague in what they're charging him with or how they're going to prove this. Physical, digital, and forensics that's vague.
That we intend to present in court to prove these charges beyond a reasonable doubt.
Only a couple more questions.
Yes.
Your investigation, and just to his question, are you able to tell us exactly what the smoking gun is? And also, if you can address the issue of his visit to Santa Barbara, and that, how does it connect with the murder?
So with respect to the actual details of the evidence we're going to be presenting in court, I'm not going to do that today. As far as...
and he doesn't sound confident, right? He doesn't sound confident. Oh, well, with the evidence we got, we're going to not talk about today. We're going to present him in court, which is, once again, the same thing he said earlier, the forensics, the digital, and the physical, right? That's all they... You know, it should be, all that they've been having for 5 months, right? All that they've been having for 5 months. They've been having that evidence. Been had that. So what's new? What made you guys make your move now, right? 5 months. What made you make your move now? What was the thing that tied? Not that the medical coroner ruled it was a homicide. All right, we got that. Gotcha. But how did you tie David into this? Right? Because we can speculate. What if they said it was ruled an accidental death? Okay, but still, they dismembered her body. That's still illegal, right? So what's different between, if they said it was an accidental death, would you still charge David? Right? David would have still been charged. So then you could have charged him 4 months ago. You didn't have to wait till today. So there's nothing new. You guys were already speculating and knowing that it was a homicide because her body was dismembered. That was not even, you really didn't need the medical examiner to tell you it was a homicide. Any body that's found dismembered is a homicide. If somebody goes to trouble of dismembering, cutting off somebody's leg, toes, feet, they're trying to hide something. Duh. No jury would bite your head off if you say, we believe this is a homicide. Even if you are speculating, you tell the jury, hey, well, look, this person dismembered this body, so obviously they were hiding something. The jury will go with you. Then why did not the grand jury return an indictment? So we got a lot of questions here, right? If you guys say you get all this evidence, forensics, digital, physical, then you should have had a grand jury indictment. And then you still aren't being specific. Oh, we have the time that the digital evidence shows that he carried one bag or two bags to the car, stuffed them in there. We got him on the camera getting out the car on this day, this time, which places him at the scene of the crime. That's how he's supposed to answer the question. When you're charging somebody, you come in with specifics, not vague. Oh, well, we got digital and we got physical. It doesn't matter. It's all going to be public information. So whether you tell it today or tomorrow ain't gonna be no difference. The public's gonna know what conclusion you're coming to. So why not have a press conference and come out with definite and defining answers? Oh, well, we got this witness who says we saw him do this. So we have eyewitness testimony placing David Burke at the scene of the crime, placing David Burke however he mutilated her and tore her to pieces, whatever the evidence is. You're supposed to say this to the press conference. Going in with confidence, not vague answers, digital, forensics, and physical. You've been had that. That ain't nothing new. That ain't nothing new. So that's telling me, what that is telling me is they're reaching, right? They're reaching. Their only reason they're filing is because they don't want, because the arrest happened, they can't not file because then it looks like they're slacking. Because once again, this case has already been tried in public opinion. A lot of people think David did it. And you know, I'm not saying, it looks kind of bad because he made that damn song of romantic homicide. I mean, it looks, car bodies found in your car. I mean, I ain't gonna lie, it looks bad. It looks bad. I'm not gonna say it looks good. But if you're on your level of district attorney, you got all these resources that you put into this case so far, and all you're gonna tell us is we got digital, we got forensics, we got physical. But to ask you a specific question, what made you come to the conclusion to tie David into this particular homicide? And you couldn't answer it. So listen, I don't like to see people get railroaded. That's the one thing I don't like. I understand people want justice. People want blood. This little girl, 14, 15-year-old girl, da-da-da. Okay. But I don't like to see people getting railroaded either, because that's not the answer.
The concept of a smoking gun. The smoking gun is the totality of the evidence that we're going to bring to prove any case, whether it's this case or any case, beyond a reasonable doubt.
Is there any evidence that you've used other underage girls that being investigated?
An investigation is ongoing. If information comes forward on with respect to any additional crimes, we will certainly investigate it.
One more question. One more.
There's been so much discussion about the difficulties in this case, the Chief talked about it as well. What makes you confident you can prove these allegations?
What makes us confident is the totality of the evidence that has been obtained by the LAPD robbery homicide, by the work that the district attorney's office has done, that has led us to the point where we believe we can prove each and every one of these three charges and the special circumstances and the special allegation beyond a reasonable doubt.
Thank you, everybody. If you are.
What were the three charges? First degree murder, so we see here that they don't have really nothing. He says, what is this? They say, what is a smoking gun? Smoking gun means, actually, Rufus, what is a smoking gun for you charge this person? We got his fingerprints, his DNA, right? And we got him a digital camera moving body, but it is undoubtedly, he would not, you know what I mean? That's a smoking gun. I'm not going to answer vaguely, say, oh, well, the smoking gun is, the totality of the evidence is a smoking gun. You guys have lost cases before, sir. We just seen in the Diddy case, the Diddy trial, how the federal government made a fool of themselves. And I don't like when the district attorney or the U.S. attorney. So let me tell you the difference between the two. The district attorney represents the state of California or any state, Maryland, any state, right? That is the district attorney, right? The U.S. attorney is the federal prosecutor. Two different jurisdictions, two different set of laws, right? But I don't like when they try to think they can manipulate jury members to get a conviction. This is just a bad practice. And I think this practice needs to be examined. I think the court system needs to be examined and regulated better. I know it ain't gonna be perfect, but damn, you're just gonna arrest somebody on a suspicion of murder, didn't come out and not truly say what you're charged. Well, we think we got some physical evidence, we got some physical evidence, we got this. You don't have shit. You've been had that for 5 months. You've been had the bodies and the forensics. That's the medical examiner. You've been had that for 5 months, and then digital. You've been having that for 5 months too, right? But they did not one time say, "Oh yeah, we got the witness testimony. We'll place him at the scene of the crime." That I don't think they have, because they didn't say it. They don't have a smoking gun. Their hands have been forced, and now they'll be forced to try to manipulate the jury. Now, David got a little money, man, and his dad's a lawyer, so David's going to have some of the top attorneys in the world. This is not going to be a public defender. You know what I'm saying? This guy he's a singer. He made some money, and he got a little bit of money. He stayed in Hollywood Hills, paying $20,000 a month. So he has access to quite a bit of money, right? Millions. So yeah, you're just not going to be able to walk in the courtroom and just bully this guy, right? We've seen that in the Young Thug case, even the Diddy case, right? The same thing. Lawyers will expose weak cases that are without fundamentally wrong, right? Great lawyers expose those things. Great lawyers expose those things. And I don't know. I mean, I understand, but I understand why the district attorney had to do what they had to do, because LAPD kind of forced the position by arresting a guy like they did. And DA has to be online with that, because the DA needs to be in sync with the LAPD. They're not happy with the LAPD, though. I don't think so. I don't think they like that the LAPD forced their hand like this, because now we got a sloppy case on our hand. We really don't have, and we really can't prosecute you like we really want to. But now that you went and did the arrest, we have to come and back you. Don't let them do you like that. OJ Marsha Clark got fired, nigga. She lost her job because of that case. If you do not get a conviction here, their heads are going to roll. Heads are going to roll. That's why they didn't file for 5 months, because they want to, man, they see what happened in the Young Thug case. Even the U.S. Attorney Diddy case got fired. The ASUSA got fired. Heads rolled because of that loss. Yeah, they got two of the weaker offenses, but they like, wait a minute, no. You guys are fired. You guys made it look bad. And it wasn't the AUSA fault. He only can present the physical evidence and all the forensics and all the shit that he was dealt. He presented to the jury, and the jury said, "You guys are bullshit. You guys are full of shit." And this is why this district attorney office didn't file so quickly, because they're like, "Damn, we need to be sure, because it ain't a guarantee anymore." You see Young Thug, they beat their case. Then you see Diddy essentially beat his case, essentially. Yeah. So this is one of those things that is very dangerous, right? Because you can lose your job. You can lose your job. Let's go. Let's look at some more. A few more things. We'll log, but this is classic bully policing that LAPD is known for. They bully police. That's what LAPD. They're fucking corrupt. Chef Lee Baca had to go to jail. You know. They're corrupt. And the people, and I don't like when the people, regular citizens, just jump on it. Oh, the police police said if the police say you did it, you did it. Nigga, that don't mean shit. The law says you're innocent until proven guilty. Stand on it.
Hey everybody, I'm Ashley Banfield and this is Drop Dead Serious. It is Tuesday, April the 7th, 2026. I'm doing something a little different than what we've been doing over the past like 60-ish days. I have an update for you on the story of Celeste Rivas Hernandez and David Burke, better known as D4VD, David the singer. And it is mind-blowing. We've all been looking at the Nancy Guthrie case for the last 2+ months. And as it turns out, there's a lot that's been going on in California and in Texas regarding this case and the murder, potentially, of this 14-year-old teenage girl who was found rotting in the trunk of the singer's Tesla. So to start with, I'm going to give you a full background of this case in case you're sort of joining or in case you've sort of forgotten because it's been a while, right? And a lot of details came out very fast and furiously at the beginning of this case. So in a moment, I'm going to just give you, take you down soup to nuts on this case. But first and foremost, I just want to tell you what has transpired. Something I didn't expect. The LAPD let the car go. They let the Tesla go. Apparently, reportedly, they only spent 2 days processing that vehicle, sent it back to the impound lot, where it stayed for.
Because the LAPD, once again, they want that money. How you gonna sell that man's car? Right? It wasn't your car. Fucking these police officers, all this shit is crooks. All the court system is crooked. I know I'm not trying to defend David. I don't know if he's guilty or not guilty. I don't know. I don't know. I don't care, right? I just am anti LAPD for sure. I've had run-ins with them on multiple occasions. Yeah. I just think the police are corrupted and they need to be exposed. I think they need to be exposed.
Hear the results of the paternity test?
Yeah, I think they need to be exposed. I think LAPD, all the cops in all the United States are crooked. Federal government, state, all of them are no good. No good suckers. So I'm gonna shut down the stream. Thank you for coming. And we're gonna keep updates on this case. We're gonna follow this one all the way through. Until next time, hit the like.